Aries rising. This is your quick forecast for the month of April 2023. We start off the bat here on April 3rd because the planet Mercury is going to be leaving the sign of Aries, and it's been there for you here for a little bit here for the last month, along with a lot of other Aries types of energies. The planets, Venus was there earlier, Jupiter still there. Mercury leaves your sign of Aries and goes into Taurus. If you're an Aries rising, Mercury going into the place in your chart that deals with finances, money, resources, sense of worth, is we're going to be talking about this a little bit more, how you calculate things, how you formulate things in the resources and money part of your life. It's also joining Venus that's there in Taurus right now and Uranus that's been there since 2018. So money and resources are going to be a big highlight of your month, and there's going to be something else I'm going to bring up here at the end of this video that's going to accentuate that. So I want you to get that in your head about how you spend money, how you look at money, how you plan and acquire resources and money. That starts to really kick in here on April 3rd. April 5th is a major lunation. It's a full moon in Libra. This is huge for you because this full moon, Aries rising, it happens in the part of your world that deals with all types of relationships. And it's interesting here because it's not just about relationships, but as if you think about what that really means, it starts with the relationship with yourself, and then after that, everything outside of you, okay? So not only is the full moon in Libra happening there, but the wounded healer, the asteroid, Chiron, has been a major factor in your life for a while now, and a major storyline for how you connect to your wounds, how you heal those wounds, how those wounds are exposed, and how you've been, in a sense, processing them with yourself and others. This is definitely part of this full moon. And I think it's a type of full moon that brings relationships front and foremost, how you communicate in them, and how much you value yourself in relationships, and if whatever's outside of you, whoever that is, values you in your relationships. And there's very honest conversations here this whole first week of April for you. But I want you to think about merging a broken part of yourself back together into yourself. If you think of it as a puzzle piece that's been eluding you, or a puzzle piece that you've now found that's been missing, that has a story and a wound that's involved, I want you to take that and place it back in where it should be with the puzzle piece. And not only that, you're not alone in all this. I think you can have some help if you ask for it. So that happens on April 5th. When we get to April 10th, the planet Venus is going to enter the sign of Gemini. It's going to leave Taurus and leave your money house, and Venus is going to go into the part of your chart that deals with how you formulate things in your brain, how you come up with the words and the calculations, and then how you communicate with that in your immediate world and with your siblings, so, as an example, but in a sense with those around you. And I think it's a thing here where Venus leaves your money and resources house, and even though that theme isn't going to go away, it kind of takes it to another level about your mind. And this is the theme for the month, is your mind. I will have something else here to support that and put it together for you. On the 19th is probably the biggest, along with the full moon that happened on the 5th, is the biggest day of the year. It's because there's a solar eclipse that's going to happen at 29 degrees Aries. This affects you, everything about you, your health, your vitality, your body, everything that you do to stand in your in the world, which is, if we think about Aries, what Aries is and what you are, it's about putting your will into the world, putting your life force and initiating energy in the world. You being ruled by Mars, the engine of the zodiac, the engine of the chart, how one takes action, how one initiates. This is who you are, Aries rising. Or if you got Aries planets in your house, you have to push your will into the world, to prove yourself, to show yourself with that internal core initiatory fire. And here's an eclipse that happens here. And this is going to be connected, actually, to the full moon that happened in your relationship house I talked about earlier. It's about you and about the rest of the world, you and what you relate to. and there's an ending in the beginning, or I would say a possible changing and moving up, an evolution in the sense of yourself. And this kind of feeds to a bigger story that's been happening with you when it deals with Chiron that I mentioned earlier about you're speaking up for yourself in a positive, a growing way, in a way where you get past the hurt, get past the ways that you've been stuck, and you want to show yourself even more. And you get a huge, interesting energy push here that happens with the solar eclipse. And it starts off a storyline for the next year and a half about this, where you're going to up your game. You better up your game. That's the deal. See, that's part of this thing, because sometimes when we deal with Aries, there's no choice but to up your game, right? There's no choice to impose your will. There's no choice to put yourself out there and express yourself. It's just in how you do it. Can you do it for love for yourself, and eventually when it involves other people, other situations, can they understand it about you, and can you share that love with them? And so that's a huge day. This affects many parts of your life. Look to your relationship part. You can look to your home, family, and ancestry in the past, your career, you. 4 major parts of the chart, 4 major parts of you. And this is in play on the solar eclipse that happens on the 19th. The next day, the Taurus birthdays start, and we leave the Aries birthdays. I'm just, putting that out there for you. And then the next day, on the 21st, Mercury, that's entered in the sign of Taurus that I said in the beginning of this video, into your place that deals with money, resources, a sense of worth, so on and so forth. Mercury, the planet, is going to stop and start to go backwards for 3 weeks. They call this a Mercury retrograde. So now Mercury, that deals with the mind, ideas, thoughts, and opinions, in the place that deals with money and resources. And I mentioned earlier that Venus, the planet of relationships and how you relate, is going to be in a place in your chart that deals with what you do with your immediate thinking and how you calculate. So now you can get the picture here that Mercury in your mind, in how you weigh things out and how you calculate and where you pull in different parts of knowledge and what you do with that knowledge, is going to be one of the biggest themes here for April and going into May for you. So expect a little bit of roadblock, and actually then turn into review and reclaiming something and reviewing something in the resources and money part of your chart. And you have to see on a deep down level what that means to you. And that's what you're going to be reviewing during this Mercury retrograde. I'm going to leave it there. That retrograde is going to end on the 15th of May. So you're going to have 3 weeks of this, and then it goes a little bit more for you, Money House. Big deal. The biggest thing you should take from this is to show yourself, to take the risks that you like to do, but in a smart way, a thought out way, not just raw impulse. Think about it a little bit before you take the impulsive step in action for yourself. And I think with that, along with the eclipses, along with the full moon that's going to happen, I think you're walking through a major door in your life, and you're never going back. And that's a good thing. So thank you for listening. If you like who I am and what I do, please hit the subscribe button. Please share the video to any other Aries or Aries risings. And I will see you on the next video.